Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. My name is Savannah Playford, the Director of Youth Ministry at Dixon United Methodist Church. Whenever you are watching this, welcome to today's daily devotion. Young people will never admit it to you, but we make a lot of mistakes. Like, a lot. And I'm sure that some of you parents or leaders or really anyone over the age of, let's say, 30 will know the mistakes that we make before we even make them. But anyways, whenever people make mistakes, there are sometimes they make a mistake that they wish they could undo. Do you ever send a risky text or an email, whether it be for work or your personal life, that you wish you could just take back? Or do you ever do something and maybe not to the best of your ability, so you wish you could have a do-over? Recently, I took an exam for school. I didn't prepare and I honestly didn't do so well. And I wish that I could do a redo and do the exam again. But what about when it comes to your faith? Do you ever ask God for forgiveness because you messed up? Do you ever ask God to forgive you and cleanse you of those sins? Do you ever think that you have sinned so big and for so long there is no way that God will forgive you? Well, in the Bible, David felt the same way in Psalm 51. Psalm 51 verses 10 through 12 says this: "Create a clean heart for me, God. Put a new, faithful spirit deep inside me. Please don't throw me out of your presence. Please don't take your Holy Spirit away from me. Return the joy of your salvation to me and sustain me with a willing spirit." You see, in these verses, David is pleading with God to cleanse him and give him a new heart that will be made for God. You guys remember all the mistakes that David made, right? He lusted over a woman he was not married to. He slept with her, got her pregnant, tried to lie and cover the whole thing up, killed somebody. Yeah, a lot of drama and a lot of mistakes were made there. But in these verses, David is coming before God and asking for forgiveness. He is begging not to be thrown out of the presence of God because he knows that things will be so much worse to be away from God than to be close to God and still continue to make mistakes. Spoiler alert though, God does forgive David. And do you want to know why? It's because Jesus died on the cross. Jesus died on the cross for David and for all of us. But what if Jesus died on the cross for more than our forgiveness? See, that's the beautiful thing about the gospel, is it doesn't just stop with God's grace. Sometimes as believers, we think God's grace is like a giant eraser. Like, I can mess up here and there, but it's okay because God will erase it. And that's not true. God does not rub the pages clean again, but instead, he writes a new story where our sin once was. He fixes the mistakes that we made. He replaces the broken with love and new life. So, as we prepare our hearts for Palm Sunday this weekend, let us celebrate and remember that we are forgiven. Our wrongs have been made right, and our story is being rewritten. And just like David is asking in these verses for a willing spirit, we too should ask for a willing spirit, be willing and ready to help God and help the gospel whenever we are called. So I challenge you to take some time today and throughout this week to prepare your heart for the end of this Easter season. Think of all of the wrongs that God has made right for you and how you can use those wrongs made right to now love and bring life to other people.